Corey, thanks for speaking to us. I think ahead of your debut at the World Championship, there'll be a lot of darts fans sitting up and paying attention. Who is this lad? So why don't you just tell us a bit about who you are, where you're from?
I'm Corey Cadby. I'm originally from Tasmania. I recently moved to the mainland, which is a different state called Melbourne, Victoria. Played darts since I was 16. And then I thought I'd give it a real hot shot, being a complete different level over in the mainland. And I practiced about 3 to 4 months, and then realised that I was good enough to give them all a go over there. And then, basically near number one in Australia, or I'm now number one in Australia.
So it literally just took a few months from picking up darts for the first time to realise you had a talent for this game.
I've been throwing since I was 16 years old, but I've had a life that hasn't been really around darts flat out. But I've had a few breaks here and there, but then I've got my life back on track with my, I have a fiance and 2 kids. And yeah, I thought I'd give it a red hot shot in the mainland, and it's just all paid off.
When did you realise then that you had a serious talent, that you could mix it with the best in Australia and now the best in the world at the World Championship?
Well, I never really heard of the DPA, which is Dart Players Australia. It's the DPA circuit. It's based with the PDC. I was going to a local tournament and I got sponsored that night, and he said, "Are you ready for tomorrow?" Which was Team Rebel. It's Ian Dargan, and so he flew me to Sydney, which is where the World Series was held. And I won the first night, and then didn't go any good in the second day, but then got runner-up the third day. That's just where it all started. Couldn't believe it.
You've moved from Tasmania to the mainland, and that's a big step to follow the dream of playing darts.
Yeah, basically.
How big a choice was that for you to make that decision to do it?
Well, Tasmania's, I've got a fair bit going on back there, but I had to get out of there for my family's sake and for my own sake, and especially the darts on the way. This playing darts in Victoria is just a lot better quality, and a lot better standard, obviously, and doing really well.
I mean, you've now qualified for the World Championship. We're talking about the very elite in the game. You can be going up against Michael van Gerwen, Phil Taylor, Gary Anderson. You've obviously played Phil Taylor a couple of times on the World Series. I think they're the performances that really made people sit up and think, hang on, this lad can really play. What was it like taking on Phil Taylor on those stages and being the first man to beat him in Australia?
Well, the first time I was more worried about the crowd. It was just all happiness and joy. And then he beat me 6-3, and I had shots of doubles, and I obviously rushed him. And then I draw him again a week later in Perth, and I watched myself back on YouTube and just realised the mistakes that I made. I just corrected them, and I was determined that it wasn't going to happen again. So I just gave it my best. I had nothing to lose, just all the gain.
You seem to take facing the greatest dart player of all time in your stride very easily. Now, there are some players out there who will freely admit that they've struggled to do that for a number of years. That bodes well for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I just seem to think you fear no one, and if you're going to win, you're going to win. You're either going to lose or lose. It's pretty simple. Darts is a big head game. You've got to be in it real confident. If you're not confident or your head's not in the game, you're not going to win. You've got to really want it to win it.
Do you believe that darts can provide for you and your family, and basically, provide some direction for your life over the next years or decades?
110% believe that I can make my life and the family is a lot better of a life. Possibly turn my life completely around.
What's the next steps for you? I mean, obviously, we're coming into the World Championship. We're talking now ahead of your World Youth Championship final, so we don't know whether you've got that title as yet, but I mean, you're making big strides in a very short space of time. Do you anticipate making the move over to the UK like Simon Whitlock has done before you, like Kyle Anderson, for example?
It is on the cards. Hopefully I don't need to get a tour card. Hopefully I'll qualify that through the actual Worlds make enough dough in there to get the tool cards. It's a bit more muck, not much mucking around. But then if I don't, it's Q school it is.
So it's definitely the long term. I mean, how would that be? I mean, it's one thing moving from Tasmania to mainland Australia, but how would that, I mean, flying the other side of the world either on a regular basis or moving permanently, that's a huge step, isn't it, for a young man with a young family?
Yeah, well, it's a massive step. I was a bit scared. Last time I came over, I was real homesick, so if I don't give it a shot, I'm not going to know, and I don't want to live like that, so I've got to give it a shot to know what it's like, and hopefully, yeah, this all works out.
You're part of Mac Elkin's sports management company, and there's a number of international players in there. Kyle Anderson is one of them, a Yella class, and having those guys around, has that helped you understand the demands of being a professional dart player, what's expected of you and what the lifestyle is?
Oh, it's really great having them around. They're really good blokes, and they really get in there and help me. They tell me a lot of things, a lot of ways. I was chatting with Yella yesterday, and he was telling me some ways to go. What would I shoot for if I was on a certain amount of score? Really, just a couple of things that I didn't know that are really handy for the future.
Do you believe that you've still got a lot to learn in this game then?
Oh, definitely. I believe that I know a lot, but you learn something new every day. So,
how good do you think you could be, Corey?
I'm going to be the best.
That's it. Definitely.
That's it. It's no point playing if I'm not going to be the best.
You nicknamed the King, that's right, isn't it?
That's correct.
Where's that come from?
My uncle, when I was a little baby, he always obviously marched around like I was a king, thought I was a king. And yeah, he called me the King, so it's just a family nickname basically.
Is that a sort of confidence that you think could stand you well in professional darts over the next few years?
Yeah, I believe it is. This makes me more dermatine, knowing that I've something on me back for my family, just so they know that I'm thinking about them while I'm playing as well. So doing it all for them.
Do you have a hero in darts? Do you have anybody you look up to and aspire to be like?
I've got Phil Taylor. Obviously, is a big idol of mine. He's gave me a lot of advice and a lot of tips back there in Sydney, Australia, and Perth, Australia. I've got a soft spot for Barney. He's really well. He's a real kind man. But obviously Kyle Anderson. Before I came on the side, Kyle Anderson was the main one, and then Whitlock. I'll go for my Australians. So,
in terms of what you hope to achieve, you've already shown that you've beaten Phil Taylor, first person to do so in Australia. When you look at Michael van Gerwen, world champion Gary Anderson, do you have any doubts that, given enough time, you'll be able to mix it with these guys on a regular basis?
I'll mix it, definitely, 100%. It'll come quicker than what everyone thinks as well. I know I'll be there.
So do you have targets? Do you give yourself time scales? You say, by this time next year, I want to be doing this, that and the other?
Yeah, I know. I just live day by day and just take it as it is. But I know I'm going to be the best, so.
I think that's all we need, Corey. Thanks a lot for speaking to me.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
And good luck in the world.
Thanks, mate.